Do it.
Thank you. My name is Julie Ray, Chairperson of the Executive Committee for Bronx Community Board 8. We will start the meeting. I will just make an announcement that for the ADA approvals for this evening are Sylvia Alexander, Marty Walkoff, Mary Ellen Gibbs, and Chuck Merla. If any of the chairpersons are on Zoom, they must show their face throughout the meeting. And then
He
we
was
will go
surprised,
on.
of course, to find out that you were.
Can you mute? Thank you, except for the board members. Okay, thank you. And then we will do roll call.
Ready for roll call?
Yes,
Sergio Villaverde, absent. Margaret Della will be here shortly. Joy Campbell Privatere. Present. Laura Spalter. Present. Sylvia Alexander. Not yet. Bob Bender.
Here.
David Gelman.
Present.
Okay, but on Zoom, let me just mention that. Mary Ellen Gibbs, I see you. Okay. Ed Green, Rashida Hilliard, present. Rabbi Bob Kaplan, not here. Josh Lamb, present. Oscar Martinez, not here. Chuck Nordler, not here. Daniel Rowan, no. Ramgat Singh, no. Deb Travis, present. Marty Wolkoff,
Present.
Lee Reyes,
present.
and Ed, I see you are now present.
I'm not present.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10. 10 and we have a quorum.
Thank you, Fowler. Okay, so now we'll go on to the approval of the executive minutes for February 5th, 2025. Any discussions on the minutes? Okay, so make motion to approve them.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any objections? Okay, so any objections to the minutes? No abstentions? Okay, so then they're accepted as is. We'll move on to the president's report.
Good evening, everyone. This is the treasurer's report for March 2025. So we now have 149,922 remaining in our budget. If you take a look at item 1.1, the increases in expenditures largely concerned our intern Jalen for code 400, and then code 600. About 1,700 in cleaning expenses, so that accounts for the difference from February. There are no budget mods, no funds encumbered, no funds requested, no funds encumbered. And 1.4, we now have 2,065 remaining for rent and energy. That's the report for March.
Oh, Sylvia is present.
Does anyone have any questions, comments on the treasurer's report?
81,000 to 2,000.
Excuse me?
1.4 is 8996 to 2,000.
What was that?
The last line.
Where are you looking at?
That's the rest, that's the,
That's the right.
the rent, right? Yeah, I mean, and that's not really part of our
That's
budget.
not covered, no.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Bless you.
No? Okay, thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
I'll go on to my report. Last month, we talked about holding a community conference for knowing your rights for the migrants. We were unable to get the speakers to come to our March meeting or right prior to the March meeting, so we're still aiming to conduct a conference, and I need target dates for the April meeting, maybe about 30 minutes before our April board meeting. A few speakers can give presentations on knowing the rights for the migrants. Okay, regarding board participation, or lack thereof, and meetings. If you have any suggestions on what we can do to, we shouldn't have to motivate board members, but it looks like we need to in some committees. Jill and Karen, they're gathering some information and research to bring to the LRE committee and the board and the executive committee, hopefully by April next month. If you have any suggestions, I'm gonna ask them again to reach out to all the board members, please contact them. If there's a few committees that are just lacking in participation and membership, then we really need to get it going. Okay. The Van Cortlandt Park Alliance Springtime Shindig will be held in May 15th, so I'll get in touch with you and the board will give another support letter. We've done it 3 years past, so I know we did a cold letter last year, so we need to do that again. And their honorees this year is,
For Barrett.
yeah, Herb Barrett, and he's with the Memorial Grove, he's a Memorial Grove advocate, and Commissioner James Hendon from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Okay, then from the Van Cortlandt Park Association, I was invited to join their Legacy Council to be part of the reimagining of the enslaved African burial grounds at Van Cortlandt Park. And I remember Bob Bender when you were in Parks and you were very involved with that. And some of the board members actually went to the ceremony, so it will be, I think it'll be interesting for me to participate with them. They're going to have monthly meetings just to see how they could reimagine the space and have it available for the public and different events, and to extend the history of the legacy of the history of when it was created and why. They just want to honor the memories of those who shaped the African enslaved place, and I'll find out what's going on. The first meeting is March 20th. And then lastly, many of us are being time limited out. So I would ask the chairpersons of every committee to try to mentor someone to give them information on their committees. Because we're gonna have a lot of new people who are gonna be chairs. So, and Marty, you printed out something for us, and thank you. Farrah had emailed us a list of who's leaving in the first batch. I thought it was just one COVID batch. So we're leaving in 2 stages. Some of us are leaving in 2027, and some are leaving in 2028. So in 2027, it will be Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. Will be Sylvia, Nicasio, Stephen Fruit, Omar, myself, Sergio, and Marty. That's the first group. And then the second group in 2028 will be Bob Bender, Margaret, David, Julia, Gomez, Ed Green, Charles Mertla, Georgia Santiago, Laura Spolta, Deborah Travis. That's the second group. So for those in 2027, I'd say please start working with new board members who will be here much longer. Any questions on that or anything? Okay, great.
So the June first, that's the day you have to check on that.
It was that March.
Well, you're 2028.
Right.
You know we're all in the same group with you. This will be term limit June 1st, 2028. Usually terms end what, March 31st, I believe.
Yeah,
So
usually
March
ends.
31st is when you pack your bags. Unless they do an extension, but so far that's the date that we have.
Yeah, because it seems like we'll be hobbled,
Yeah.
from April until September when there's actually new board members coming
Yes.
on.
Mhm.
I just, quick question about that, if it's, how could it be March if the clinic is in the summer and you're in all the time?
It's just, that's
That's
what
what
it says when you,
Charlie,
with the application.
I had the same question. It's very instructive.
Yeah.
So you have to so I guess that would be new elections or?
You'd have to, once the vacancy is there, then you have to have the elections like within 2 months. Like we did
Right, but we
last
normally
year.
have our elections in May or in June anyway.
Right, so if we leave in March, April, May, yes, so you have the elections in, no, we have it in June.
Yeah, we have it in June, but we're not gonna have all the we may not have all the members in June.
Exactly.
You
It
know,
would be
the-
crazy.
We rarely
Um,
have in
Well,
recent years.
Right, we rarely had the members by June, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
It's gonna be
thank
crazy.
you very much for, yeah, I've been saying that for a while, we need to really have vice chairs who are the newer people, which is a good thing anyway, because we
Mhm.
need to have the have the turnover and not have somebody walk into land use who's, never been to a meeting or never had leadership. Cause it's Chuck and Marty and Chuck and Marty, and that's how it's been, but we really need to, in all the committees, I think, especially to find those new people.
I mean, Farah and I meet, when we go to our board meetings, we do let the presidents let us know that we definitely need more land use. We always mention that. That's so true, so hopefully we'll see what happens.
I guess the Bronx Borough President's gonna compensate for the people going out the door with extra people coming in.
I have no idea.
Perhaps that's a conversation to have.
Yeah.
Can they make the appointments? I don't think they're barred from making appointments earlier.
Yeah.
I think,
She could do it mid-spring.
Yeah, she
Someone
could do it
could
mid-
come in today.
exactly,
Yeah.
somebody can come in today, so
Yeah.
maybe we
Yeah.
start.
And she's already started interviews for the people who are, their term is ending this month. They're starting their virtual interviews already. I'm sure they're going crazier than us because they have all the boards that they have to deal with and a lot of votes are taken at the end of the term. So I'm sure, they have to be working on this.
Well, they haven't appointed all of the positions on this board that they could have, right?
Mhm.
It implies that they haven't had enough applicants to
Yeah.
fill existing
Right,
positions
they've even had to extend it last year. They extended it because not enough people.
applied.
That's the thing of the
I think
past.
they had 500 people applying.
They don't select everybody,
Last year.
and they also, with a lot of boards, not usually us, they worry about quorum. So most boards don't have the full 50 for that reason, because then they'll never, they fear they'll never have quorum. So
And
that-
hopefully they're looking for quality, quality in the sense to even it out in the different fields.
Right.
It's an ongoing dialogue.
I think so far they have about 200 applications, so I wouldn't be surprised if they extended.
Yeah,
That's for the whole box.
Is that new or new and renewing?
That's a good question. She didn't decide, I didn't ask that question. I just said how many applications they have so far.
well, since I've been here, they've always extended. I've never been here because I remember you would always email, and I say, I'm not going to the meeting unless I know that it's extended, but they've always extended it. But it will be interesting in 2027 when we're out, because that's charter rules.
Right.
But I want to remind everyone that after a year, you can reapply.
Yeah.
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 So take it on
And Julie, you can come back and replace.
Yeah.
So that's it with my report. Anybody on Zoom have any questions with all that? And can you guys hear us on Zoom?
Be a little louder.
Okay. Okay, so then the next.
But yes.
Okay,
Yes, it would help if it were louder.
so Farah, you're up,
Okay, I'm gonna be loud.
district manager.
Good
Thank you.
evening. All right. Happy Women's History Month, everyone.
Very good.
Now that FY 26 Community District Needs Statement has officially been released, if any committees would like to follow up on the agency responses, please reach out to me. I have an updated list on who we can contact for that agency to discuss specifically that. I held my monthly district service cabinet meeting on March 4th. My next meeting will be April 1st. As always, please send any issues you would like me to follow up on. And I will send the minutes shortly. I did want to highlight, although I don't see Rhonda here, that Department of Youth and Community Development would like to present on programs that were funded for our district. So I'm gonna ask if he can come if Rhonda wants him at the next youth meeting. And the summer youth employment program applications have been extended another 2 weeks. So if you know of any kids that want to apply for that, they still can. I attended our Bronx Borough Service Cabinet meeting, who had presentations from Department of City Planning on the review of the whole budget submission process that we just went through in October. And DEP did a presentation on flooding 101. Bronx Borough President has asked us to send any comments by tomorrow on their Bronx Borough budget report shared with the board. And I have a hard copy here if anybody would like that. Con Edison will be sending me an update on gas main work being done from West 246th Street through North Riverdale. I will have details shortly and the work will begin next week. I attend a monthly working group on the future of community boards with the citywide district managers. So there's about 59 of us. We meet every month. And we discuss a lot about board development, especially with the, we're all nervous for the term limits and what's gonna happen to all the boards in the city. I am organizing a board development workshop for the next exec board meeting on April 2nd. It's with, the Civic Engagement Commission, and they talk on topics of parliamentary procedures. So, we are putting together a presentation that entails a combination on holding effective meetings and use of motions. They do have more workshops. These are free and very useful for future development of our board. I'm also hoping to organize more of these in the future with our newer members, but all members can benefit from it and are invited to attend. Lastly, I printed the draft April calendar of meetings and need your comments. Let me know if there's anything wrong and if you are holding your meeting or not in April. Thank you very much.
Darryl, where is that draft, the calendar?
I sent it today
Oh, you did?
and there's one here. It printed hard copies for everyone
Okay,
today.
all right, I must have missed it, thank you.
I was late, but I brought donuts in case anybody wants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if any committees.
Somebody's car broke down in the drive-thru at Dunkin' Donuts at 330th Street.
Oh,
That's
my
why, yes,
gosh.
I swear to God, that's why I was late in the back out.
If any special committees need a meeting date, let me know as well. Thank you.
We will, Farrell, I'll let you know.
Okay. For anything that's open for this month, next,
For this month,
for this month.
preferably, yeah.
Okay.
You can get it back to, because
And
I'll talk about it in my report.
that's why people are running on the Dunkin'
Okay.
Donuts thing. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Ashley,
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Barry. So we'll go on to the committee reports. I did see Mary Ellen.
I think she did.
Sure. Okay. So then Barbara, are you able to give a report for aging?
Absolutely. Do you want me to give the report now?
Yes, please.
Oh, of course. Okay, we had a very interesting meeting with the New York City Department of Finance. They discussed various programs that were available for seniors to assist with housing. And the minutes are attached to, the minutes are available. What I wanted to do was read we had someone from the community who asked us to support municipal retirees and intro 1096-2024. We would like the city council. Shall I just read it or summarize?
Summarize it.
Okay, good enough. We want New York City Council to pass Intro 1096-2024, which preserves retiree health choices by mandating the city to offer retirees and eligible dependents at least one Medigap plan with benefits equivalent to or better than those available to city retirees and dependents. The issue is, as I understand it, New York City retirees are being forced into a Medicare Advantage plan with no alternative options provided, which threatens retirees' access. It also reneges on a promise that was made to the retirees. It's a harmful precedent. So, be it resolved, Bronx Community Board 8 urges all its elected officials to publicly support the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees' efforts to enact Intro 1096-2024. We request that the city maintain the choice of the original Medicare plan and a Medigap plan provided at the time of employees hiring, and not force retirees into a private profit-driven healthcare plan. And be it further resolved, we urge council members Eric Dinowitz, Carmen de la Rosa, and Pierina Ana Sanchez to uphold the city's obligations to its retirees, including its obligations set forth in New York State and New York Administrative Code, Section 12-126. Consistent with these obligations, the city has, for several decades, since 1967, paid the out-of-pocket cost of the GHI Senior Care Plan, a Medigap plan, which the majority of retirees have chosen. And be it further resolved, we urge the New York City Council to exercise leadership by bringing the vote to the floor for membership to vote to enact Intro 1096-2024. Are there questions? Can I be of help?
Ed has a question?
Hey, Barbara. It's my understanding that the Medicare Advantage plan has already been implemented in a lot of trades. So what, are you proposing it be repealed, or maybe I'm mistaken? As far as I know, it's been implemented already.
They want the bill introduced would give retirees a choice. They can choose the Advantage plan if they want, but it gives them the choice. The city wants to force them on to the Advantage plan because it's cheaper than traditional Part B and Global Health, and the Medigap plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia, and then Bob Bender. Wait, there's another hand up here?
Just Sylvia.
Oh, Sylvia, and then Bob Bender.
Yes, I understand that when we were at Mount St. Vincent's in either 23 or 24, the aging chair introduced the same resolution and it was voted on. I am very confused that we're voting on the same thing twice. Wouldn't it be appropriate to just write a letter of support and following up the resolution? Because, voting for the same thing twice doesn't make it better.
Well, my understanding, which may be limited, is that the same bill that failed last year has been reintroduced. And so I think we should have a new resolution because it is a new bill.
It's not a new one. It's exactly the same as it was, except for the number.
But legislatively, my best understanding is that because it failed last year, they have to reintroduce it.
I don't believe that. So I think maybe it has to be looked into, investigated, and put it, hold it over, something like that. I don't think that it's appropriate. Marty, maybe the same thing is being voted twice. Is that correct?
So I would just say that I believe Barbara's correct, Marty will clarify it, but it's a new session, a new bill, so we should have a voice in it, but I'll let Marty correct me. Marty? Do you
Well,
want to say
the issue at hand is to get those city council members who, for whatever reason, have chosen not to support it, to come on board. And so Sylvia is right from the point that we did pass a resolution on this. And as an aside, I contacted the Conflict of Interest Board, wanting to know that since I was involved as a city retiree, whether it was a conflict of interest for me to vote for it. And I have in writing that there is no conflict. I'm so minuscule in the amount of direct benefit that I don't get, it's, the law doesn't directly, it affects me, but it doesn't directly affect me in that I'm the sole beneficiary. Since I'm one of thousands, I can vote, so everyone else who should know in advance, they have that same prerogative. So the question I would recommend, based on Sylvia's comments, is that the resolution say that Board 8 reaffirms its position
Okay,
that in support of maintaining the senior care or whatever else is fine. And you're right, the numbers have changed. So we reaffirm our position, not reaffirm our resolution, because the resolution numbers have changed. So that's my basic opinion on that. And just those who have not been following this, the organization that's identified in the resolution has raised tons of money. It has taken several million to pursue some 3, 4, I've lost count of the lawsuits, but every one of the one that have gone to the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, they have won. And the city has plenty of money and plenty of resources, so they're going to the appellate division. And this could all be cut short if the city council would just say, we want to stand behind what the promises were made initially.
Thank you, Marty. I'm gonna go to Bob Bender, David, and then Laura.
Yeah, well, first of all, Marty addressed one of the questions I wanted to raise. I know that this matter has been litigated. It's the retirees versus the city, and the retirees have won in every single round. And I wasn't sure where the litigation stood at this point, but Marty, you're saying that it's before the appellate court and that they have not ruled at the present time. Is that right?
The city has the money and the city's pursuing it. So there's one now going to come before the appellate division.
Right.
The Court of Appeals. It won in the appellate division.
Okay. So that was my question because, as I say, I know this has been litigated and I know it did in fact come up at an aging committee meeting a couple of years ago. So I wanted to get clarity on, exactly what's going on past and present. The one other thing I wanted to mention was something procedural. Barbara, is it the case that the aging committee did vote on this resolution?
yes, we voted on it and it passed. It's in the minutes.
Actually, it wasn't, it's in the minutes for this meeting, but it wasn't in the minutes of the aging committee that just circulated today. So you might want to revise those.
It should have been. I was very careful to put that. I'll double check. It should have been in the minutes.
It's not there. It's not there. There just shows no election, a vote at all. That's why I think the letter to the right person would be the right way to go.
Okay, so
Direct.
Barbara and the committee will take a look at it and have everything fixed up before our meeting, and we'll have the copy of the resolutions. A resolution will go forth. I believe David had his hand. Bob, are you finished?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, then it was David, Laura, and Sergio.
Actually, mine was merely a thumbs up to Marty's reaffirming. I think that is
Yeah.
correct. And
That's good.
I believe that given that the previous bill was in a earlier session or annual grouping, the 2-year city council seating, this is now a new bill. So Marty's right.
Not a new
We
bill.
need to reaffirm this new bill, which is probably identical to the one 2 years ago.
Okay, thank you, David. Laura?
Would it be appropriate to add a whereas indicating the date, that the, community board passed a resolution in support of whatever, the one?
That's an easy fix. Okay, is there anything else, Laura?
No, I just think that that would go with the
Barbara, you
reaffirming.
heard Laura?
I just looked at the minutes again, and I'm confused. After Michael Sharp finishes presenting, I summarized Camilla D. And then I put the vote in. So I'm concerned that you didn't see that. It's at the
Okay.
very
Not on the
bottom
bill.
of the minutes.
That's okay, Barbara. I just want to say something right now. We're doing too much on a resolution that could be fixed offline. So Barbara will fix the resolution with the committee. A resolution will be going in. And Sergio had his hand up, but Sergio, excuse me, but Sergio, before that, do you mind if I call on Artie? I saw Artie's hand
Please.
up.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, because maybe it's technical.
Yeah, I get you.
Artie?
Just to quickly clarify, the bill that was that was in the resolution from last year was 1099/2023. This year it's 1096/2024, so it is a new bill.
Okay, so we're gonna fix that offline, because we're spending too much on something that's really committee and office related. Thank you. And Artie, you cut the line. So it was technical. Go ahead, Sergio. Thank you, Artie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, when it came up before, I was concerned, and I still remain concerned about, lobbying for certain legislation and affecting things that are cases that are pending litigation on the propriety of that. And I'm sure that was what I reflected in the past, but that's all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that hasn't spoken on this? Thank you, Barbara, for reporting.
My delight.
So we're gonna go on to economic development.
How about budget?
Reversing. Every month, everyone gets put down. You were first last month. Economic development,
Don't I usually follow aging?
excuse me, economic development. Okay, there's no one here to report, but in the minutes, Farah was in the minutes, right? Were you
It
advised?
is in the minutes. I didn't send them out yet, but it will be sent out. But you can,
Okay, so we'll just move on to economics for now. Okay, education, Sylvia?
Hi, I have not submitted my minutes yet. I'll just tell you that I had Carolyn Lev from the Wave Hill, my speaker. That, of course, is Cultural Affairs. They're having their 60th anniversary. You'll read more about it in my minutes. I also had a surprise of two women who were on the Zoom who wanted to speak about President Trump's desire to undo the federal education department. They have been going to meetings at the Spuyten Duyvil Library with Jeffrey Dinowitz and others, and they're really taking it further. And it was extremely interesting to hear their views that were very much mine. It was going to be my topic of the chair's report, and I was very surprised that they had come just for that reason. I had not written that on the agenda, so they just came surprisingly. You'll get my minutes in a couple of days.
Thank you, Sylvia. Any questions from anyone? Okay, we'll go on to environment and sanitation. Laura?
That'll be me for.
Thank you, Laura.
The next ENS meeting will be held on March 19th. DEP will be invited to discuss New York State's reclassification of the Harlem River in terms of attainable water quality standards. BCEQ is also going to report on that topic. That's it.
Any questions? Thank you, Laura. Health and hospitals? Okay. Housing, Rashida?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rashida again. I had a meeting last Monday, February 24th. New York City Accelerator representative Valerie Corbett came to speak. We had a robust discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, very robust. A lot of information was shared. The minutes have been sent out, and in the minutes there are roughly 20 links related to local law 97 and whatever other laws I got. Our next meeting is scheduled to occur on March 24th. Right now, I'm just looking to have something low key, you know, and regroup for April, and then maybe have a panel in June.
Thank you, Rashida. Any questions? I have a comment though. You didn't tell us today was your birthday, so happy
Yes,
birthday.
today's my birthday.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rashida, and happy birthday. Okay, land use, Marty?
There were three items of importance on the agenda this past week. Actually, it was this week. And the most important item was what's happening at the visitation site. There were rumors spread primarily by the Riverdale Press that homeless were going to be moving into that building. What they failed to note was that the category under discussion is previously homeless, which means these are individuals who have been screened, who unfortunately in their past have been in a homeless state, and now they're looking for and hope to maintain permanent housing. So it's, we believe that the rumor that was spread was totally unwarranted, and we had three people down for from the developer, whose name I always screw up, Tishman Spires. Am I close? And they explained, and the committee was satisfied, and that's where we are right now. The second item was 5294 Sycamore Avenue, which is still in my mind somewhat confusing. The presentation, with a couple of exceptions, which I'll explain, was well developed and offered probably a positive response. They want to add an extension. They want to knock down their garage, and in place of the garage, put a two-story extension onto their building for the purpose of expanding the number of bedrooms. What began to make this a very strange presentation is that I don't know how much it cost to put together the plans, but the plans that were submitted to the board, and the plans that they're using, and the plans that's landmarks, et cetera, looked at, all have the wrong cross street on the documents, making it confusing for many people, and perhaps making it confusing for city, for landmarks, et cetera, to know exactly where the place is. The site is off of the track like the last one was. So generally speaking, you drive down the main road, you're not going to see it at all. You have to drive in. Interestingly, the drive-in takes you to the side of where the garage was, because the building in back of that house has an easement for them to be drive through to get to their garage, to get to their house. And the issue that came up that was disturbing, first one was all of these errors. And the second one now is that they presented nothing to indicate that the neighbors with easement, without easement, had no difficulty with this plan. The architect who made the presentation, I think was rather flippant in saying we reached out to everyone, almost everyone, and had no documentation to prove such. Chuck, whose house would fall into the category of being notified, wasn't. And subsequent to the meeting, we received a letter from a neighbor, a much closer neighbor, who said he had not been notified. And so the actions of the committee, certainly knowing about Chuck, but unknowing about the second one, and who knows about a third or fourth, whomever, was to postpone this discussion until next month. The architect was not pleased. The owners of the home were not terribly pleased, but there's just too much confusion. And all this will resolve, we hope, at next month's land use meeting. And if anyone else was there, would like to make a comment, I look forward to that. The third item is in Van Cortlandt Village. Our developer, Innovative, has not been a cooperative and friendly developer. Each time we make a request, he is no longer wanting to communicate with us. He is upset because he has two sites, the other site being 3111 Henry Hudson Parkway, which has a demolition notice out. So the beautiful estate that's there, I didn't even know it existed until I went to take pictures of the trees about a month or so ago. And if you want to take a look at a beautiful mansion that you could have owned for about 4 or 5 million, that's your choice. But I think it's a house worth looking at before it's gone. So because he was angry that we kept complaining about his inability to satisfy us on what trees would replace the curbside streets that he's removing, he's mad at us at both sites. And so they begun demolition. They had demolition. They're now doing a clearing of the property of the area that was the library and adjacent to the library. And just a little further south of that are two, I'll say beautiful homes, but I've only seen them from the outside. The owners, this has been in the family for a couple of generations. They do not want to sell. And it appears that Innovative is doing its very best to annoy them and make life miserable for them. Like even though there are plans for abatement, there are nothing's being done to down the size. In fact, they have exceeded their permit, and they claim because they've lost time. But the community board was never notified. The land use committee was never notified that they wanted to expand their permit for weekends and longer hours. If that permit was issued, I don't know. We've told them to make complaint after complaint. They have a very short list, but they have a list. And DOB goes out and par for the course, DOB says, what are you talking about? And so it's very uncomfortable for those who are living there. So it's rather problematic in that we don't know what the future holds. And we're dealing with a very uncooperative developer. And that's the report.
Thank you, Marty. Seth?
So Marty, I just wanted to speak on the topic of the street trees. I reached out to the Parks Department, and the 3 existing street trees on Sedgwick Avenue that are in front of the old library location. He's filed the proper paperwork and such, and those trees are not impacted by the construction. So there should be no change there. There's a 4th tree that needs to, because of the width of the property, they're supposed to have 4 street trees, but the fourth tree doesn't exist yet because there's a driveway from the old house that used to be there. And that the Parks Department agrees with him that because there's underground, utilities, they don't have to install the fourth tree there, they just need to install it someplace within the community board. So the no trees should be impacted on Sedgwick Avenue at all. And then second is the other location that he's building on, he hasn't registered with the Parks Department at all, or at least he hadn't when I spoke to the Parks Department, 3 weeks ago. So, I checked down like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. I guess I talked to the Parks Department 2 months ago in January, it's March already. And I checked online about 2 weeks ago, and I hadn't seen anything new. So please do let me know if he does go into the parks portal, but the Parks Department's position is that those street trees are there and that he has to adapt his design around them. And so they advise that he sign up onto the portal immediately so they can start working with him to have a good outcome.
Well, the issue for, thank you for that. The issue for us is primarily 3111 Henry Hudson Parkway, where,
That's what I'm talking about, Marty. I'm talking about 3111 Henry Hudson Parkway. Those trees, he's not registered anything with the
yeah, I
Parks
got that.
Department.
I got that.
Yeah.
The issue for months has been, and the reason for this alienation from him is that he is satisfied or expects to be satisfied by Parks Department that will agree to 3-inch trees to replace the I think 18-inch or whatever larger trees that are there. And it's the opinion of the committee is that a 3-inch curbside tree on a thoroughfare as greatly used as the Henry Hudson Parkway Service Road is inadequate, and we'd like a larger tree. All he had to do, still has to do, and says if the Parks Department says 3, I will do 6.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the Parks Department is not saying 3 inches. The Parks Department is saying the existing trees should stay. So he needs to get his paperwork together and talk to the Parks Department if he thinks he's cutting those trees down.
Well, I am pleased to hear that. And I'll stop at that point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Any other comments, questions?
But let me know if you hear anything about him actually applying to the Parks Department.
Yeah, well, I don't want to prolong the discussion. I know we've gone on for a while, but that was the very issue, and the reason we turned him down was that he had not been to the Parks Department. He refused to go to the Parks Department. He wanted us to certify the site before going to the Parks Department, and we said, no, that's backwards. You go to the Parks Department and straighten this out, and then we'll tell you whether or not we'll approve. And that's where everything broke down, was over that issue.
Yeah,
So,
and I confirmed that you're correct, that he can go to the Parks Department at any time, and they
exactly.
recommend that he goes immediately.
Thank you. Okay, so Marty, law, rules and ethics?
LRE is not meeting next week. I have no report to offer, just a personal comment. And that is, we have been, whatever process took place, I just want to share with you the sense that from the committee, that the status of the awards that we are giving as a board is in much better hands than it was when we started this discussion earlier this year. And so for whatever reason movement took place, it's in the right direction. And there may be some discussion in the future, but it has been in the right direction. And I don't know if I'm the one to do this, but I personally thank the chairs of the 3 committees who have done, the committees have moved that way. So that's my report. I'm done.
Thank you, Marty. Okay, we'll go into parks, Doug Travis.
So the Parks Committee met, and we had a really great presentation from the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance on the Van Cortlandt Park Master Plan. So I recommend you check out the video link on it. The master plan was originally conceived about 10 years ago. It was a 20-year plan, so this is kind of a halfway point. So the Parks Department did a look back. and, of the projects that they've done, and then they're now looking, they actually, Bob has been instrumental in pushing this forward. And they recognize once they created the document, the importance of having it, and as particularly as they look forward to what they should prioritize next over the next 10 years. So it was a really good discussion and a nice way to kind of get up to date on all of the various capital projects and plans going on in Van Cortlandt Park. And otherwise, we discussed our capital budget items. But I want to let everybody know that March 25th at 6 p.m. is the Fort Independence Park Community Input Meeting. This park got what's called CPI, Community Parks Initiative money to renovate the playground. And so they're looking, CPI funds come with community input, money. And so they're trying to get more engagement from the community on what we'd like the park to be like, the playground to be like. So it's on Zoom at 6 o'clock on March 25th. And then the next Parks Committee meeting is on March 26th at 7 p.m. We'll be here.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb. Any questions, comments? Thanks, Deb. Public safety, I agree.
Public safety has five resolutions. We have 4 renewal SLAs and 1 new application. Our renewals are Buffalo Wild Wings at 193 West 237th Street, Smash Burger, 1485 at the same address, same block, 193 West 237th. We also have Great Performances Artists at Waitresses Inc., which is up at Wooded Hill, 675 West 252nd. And P&K's Grill, 170, 174 West 231st. Public Safety Committee unanimously approved all these applications for renewal. We had 1 new application for wine, beer, and cider, and this is gonna be for Shake Shack, located at 5510 Broadway. And they signed a 2 a.m. closing agreement. Never been to a Shake Shack open that late, but they signed it anyway. And as far as my memory is concerned, I don't think they're gonna be opening until June, but we approved their new application. And that's our resolutions.
Sure. Oh, no.
Sergio?
Sergio Farah.
They're applying for beer, wine, and cider?
Right, no liquor, no hard liquor.
Oh, I thought those didn't come to us. Is there a reason that the beer and wine?
You know, we get, the liquor licenses are either for, we say a full liquor licenses, liquor, wine, beer, and cider, and then they have licenses for just wine, beer, and cider. It really could be a combination of any, but we only really see the 2. It's liquor, wine, beer, and cider, or wine, beer, and cider. I guess that's for restaurants that are more like family friendly, like Shake Shack, that don't have hard liquor.
Right, I just didn't think that we did the beer, wine, and cider,
Yeah, we
like
don't.
bodegas don't come to us, supermarkets don't come to us, but okay.
Right.
And you said P&K's Grill?
Yeah.
And they call that's they're doing business as,
No, that's still their trade name, P&K's Grilling. I know that there's another name that they have, Broadway something or whatever.
Bronx.
Bronx, yeah,
Public.
right, but their trade name is P&K's Grills.
Right, but that's a
Yeah.
corporate, right? But the DBA has, if you walk by that location, it's Bronx Public, right? Right, I think I just want to confirm that.
I can't confirm that. I haven't eaten in there in years, but.
We had a meeting there, definitely.
170 West 231?
Yeah, the one on the corner, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it says Bronx.
Public,
From
yeah.
the public.
Yeah.
It'll always be P&K's to me.
Farah, you had your hand up?
Well, I just wanted to make an aside. A lot of people mentioned that they read your minutes
Oh,
on Facebook, and they were like shocked to see there was a Shake Shack, but
oh,
they are getting their information from your committee, so.
at least it wasn't about other stuff.
Thank you, Ed. Okay. Traffic and Transportation, Josh Lynn.
On February 20th, Jeff Kimmelman came from the DA's office. On March 17th, we have a local community group to talk about safer intersections. I wrote a resolution to have permeable surfaces to allow water, and I was wondering if we could dovetail with other committees when they have construction. As a look at the overall drainage problem.
Which is the group that's coming?
You know the name?
For the open streets?
Yeah,
I have to look it up, actually, I'll tell you.
No, that's not that important.
It'll take 2 seconds, but you guys continue.
The ENS committee always prefers permeable asphalt and the like.
yeah,
You had said something
That's
about
great.
that? Yeah,
terrific.
they always ask for developers to do that, you know.
Do you still need people to take a look at step streets, or is that resolved?
If you have, you could submit pictures to Farah.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
So I don't know if TNT has gotten any complaints about this, but you know, they did that work over by, the Deegan with Bailey with the little islands and
Yeah.
it was always a problem area. It's a complete nightmare over there. And this is a public safety issue now too, but they're gonna need to have a traffic cop there because, I was personally on a bus that took a half an hour to get from Waldorf Avenue down there. And everybody's blocking the box, it's complete insanity, nobody's gonna get hurt. And it's messing up the commute. I'm gonna talk to somebody about a traffic, cause what's done is done. They already put these things in there, but to say it's a nightmare is complimenting me.
There are several solutions you could have. I'm a fan of roundabouts. You could have a bridge, because of a traffic study. There are alternatives. What they did is not enough. You have too many cars feeding into the highway.
People at Savara's attention?
No, I haven't. But at this point, because of what's done, they're gonna need a presence there to direct traffic. Cause the problem is not so much the concrete and everything, it's the drivers blocking the box and then people are getting off the highway. Now people can't go straight. It's all 4 directions. People are blocking everybody. It's literally half an hour to get a block. And I asked the bus driver, is this just today? He's like, no, man, it's like this all the time.
And it's a high volume of cars.
It's the turns,
Yeah.
people are turning.
So let Farah knows.
Where is it?
Bailey and the intersection to the highway.
Van Cortlandt Park West and Bailey,
By
or
the
Van
D-
Cortlandt Park South.
by the
The
D-
DOT
Right.
did do a presentation in September.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that.
Well, they closed at the land use meeting, 160 Van Cortlandt Park South closed one of the lanes, right, because of the
On
construction.
Van Cortlandt South.
Yeah, so that is causing a lot of traffic right now.
Mhm.
But yes, they are redoing the whole
Oh,
the
that
entrance, that whole intersection, DOT at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like they will have more light, they have to do more with the lighting, the light timing. Once they, now that they've got the new architecture, I'm a big fan of the concrete that they put in, because now I can get across without feeling like I'm gonna die. As a pedestrian. But the people do there's always cars turning, so it's very hard still to get across Van Cortlandt Park South.
They're gonna need a person there directing.
They don't have a
traffic,
good
regardless of
reference.
what they do with timing lights. It's set up to where cars are just gonna try to creep in and it's gonna block.
There's rules and lights.
People don't follow them.
Youth, is anyone here from youth? The small committee. Okay, the Irving Latimer Community Service Award will be meeting March 13th at the board office. And then our next committee is budget. David?
Yes, thank you. Notwithstanding that, budget, alphabetically and procedurally has always, followed aging, a quick review of the Bronx Borough, budget report, that we got this afternoon showed that they didn't really, pick up on any special items that we had requested. And out of our 23 capital and 30 expense items we submitted, as anticipated, they really only charted at the end 10 capital and 5 expense items. And then I would note that the monthly committee agendas and meetings have included segments on the 2027 budget requests and going through that review process, and it seems to be progressing well.
That's it? Thank
Yep.
you, David. I'd just like to say, and I'll put it in the minutes as well, and Margaret, I'll email you my stuff. I think it would be good for all the chairs and the board members, since you guys are doing the budget, you're discussing budgets, to go back for those who haven't seen or want to see at the executive meeting, April 3rd of last year. We had a presenter speak on the guidance and best practices for Community Board 8 budget requests, and it's on the, when you look at the video, it's at segment 20.20, but I'll make sure that it's in the minutes. I think it's a good refresher for committee chairs and even board members who may not be too familiar with how we should go about the budget process. And I'll make sure that that's in the minutes as well. David, I just want to say for the board meeting, gear up, because you are going to be last, because I rotate, I try to at least.
No, I fully understand that. It's just that aging was first, and budget usually follows it. The cycle makes sense, Julie. The cycle makes sense, and then aging should have been second to last, and I would have been last, and that would have been fine. That's all I'm commenting.
I just want you to be prepared. Okay, so now, we finished the committee reports.
Wait, excuse me, I was muted. If you do the regular process of the committees in alphabetical.
Thank you.
We have to do the special committees?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I feel so
Okay.
left out.
See? Every
I
month
feel
I
so
call you
left
that.
Uh-huh.
I am so sorry. We have the three of them right there next to each
Yes.
other. Okay, Bob
Oh, my
Bender.
gosh, so
We
we
will
do.
go on.
So we do.
How about that? Special committee.
There's like
roll.
a dozen donuts left, so somebody's taking the whole thing.
Pass it down.
Bob Bender.
I need a donut.
If we go to dinner, okay. Right, settle down, boys and girls. So we met, which in and of itself is noteworthy. But the main item at our discussion that we had has to do with something that I've mentioned before. The MTA has determined that it needs to put some fortification along the river because the river is rising and the Hudson Line tracks are at risk of being flooded on a regular basis. So that was the primary focus of our meeting. It's now in the 5-year capital plan, which means it's something that MTA wants to get to sooner rather than later. And we discussed the fact that we want to be represented at a meeting with the MTA. We want to have a meeting with the MTA where we can have a discussion about how they can fulfill their requirements, their engineering requirements, while at the same time, it ought to be possible, it's certainly, it's just a matter of an engineering question, to build something that works for them and could also be the foundation for the Greenway, because we do want the Greenway to run along the river. So we had a gentleman there from NIMTIC named Jerry Bogas, who has appeared before at our meetings, and he has already put together a meeting involving all the legislators in the Bronx and Yonkers to go over the current state of affairs, which was a very effective meeting a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago now. And so he's in the process of trying to get the MTA to the table where they can sit down with us and local elected officials. And we can make sure that MTA does not go ahead and proceed with what they're doing without first having some discussion about how this could work for the Greenway as well. So that was the major topic of, we reviewed past history as well, but that was the major takeaway from our meeting.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Sergio, the veterans. Yes?
We are, I'll refer everyone to our minutes. We did just schedule a meeting during this for April 24th. We have the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War coming up. Are we doing anything? Margaret is volunteered to see, to see.
It will not be in April, it will not be in April,
Okay,
but we will do something. for
we
sure.
will do something before the end of before the end of the board year. So before the end of June, we tend to have something. We're trying to have it in Memorial Grove because, the Veterans Agency donated a Vietnam Memorial bench. So it'd be nice to formally take it off and have, but that may or may not happen, but we're gonna have something anyway. That's what we're gonna discuss at our April meeting, so probably look for more like May.
Okay.
Thank
And-
you, it's April 4th.
24th, sorry, that changed.
Oh.
Okay.
For Thursday.
Thank you. Thursday.
Any questions? Thank you, Sergio. Margaret?
Scree is meeting tomorrow. We have, the deputy commissioner, the New York, Commission on Human Rights. She is presenting tomorrow. Thank you to Bob Bender for securing that presenter. And then we'll be planning out the rest of the calendar year.
Thank you. I just want to say that you're in the Parks Committee.
Yeah.
Some of the members were talking about when we were discussing budget, how some parts get more than others. Scree did a digital comparison. I don't know if you saw what they did, but that's a great tool to use to show if you want to see the disparities.
You
I
mean
mean,
capital projects in different parts of the district?
How.
Yeah, it was a great map. I
How-
really thought it was very good work.
Yeah, so something for if your committee wants to take a look at it, because Farah and I are still meeting with different council members with their discretionary funds, so get back to us if there's anything.
Bailey Playground, I mean, the parks
That's number one.
committees, like, you just take all of that money and we put it on Bailey Playground.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
what is that when you were talking?
I mean, you didn't say this there, but, of course, you're aware of this and we had this conversation in detail. We're tired of putting Bailey Playground down as the number one priority for the committee and the number one priority for the board. And we were talking about this. It's time to do something more than just list it as a priority. We've got to convene a meeting, have a demonstration, whatever it's going to take. But it's ridiculous that this has been going on year after year and nothing happens.
Yeah, and we asked, Kat Barone, the director of capital projects, and she suggested, like, a Bronx delegation kind of push to try to go to the VP's office along with the, State Senator Jackson and like just to get everybody, kind of an all hands situation because of the cost. But, it's also, it sits directly on the boundary between Councilmember Dinowitz and Councilmember Sanchez's districts. So it by rights really should have support from both of them. So, I would love to try
They
to,
do support it, by the way, they both have tried.
we need money.
Yeah,
I mean, they,
they
you know,
need
more,
more
and they need support too from other sources of funding, so, I would love to just talk to you guys about how to get something like a walkthrough or something together with the committee and,
In the community.
Yeah.
and also I think KRBC was, I remember a couple of years ago, they had surveys out along Bailey Playground collecting information from the community on it. So I think they might have some interest as well in trying to get, improvements there.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something to work.
Keep you busy.
Bring it on.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
I might
Oh,
have,
sorry.
I might have some unfinished business, I'm not sure what it is, but,
But how do you know it's unfinished?
so, because it's something we dealt with before, so, remember a while back, we had a resolution approving a street naming for Jimmy Packus Way at 230th, and I believe it was Tibbet. So, I spoke to one of the gentlemen involved in this today, and, apparently, and Farah, you're versed on this, we had a conversation about this, but, this is news to me, so apparently either they've not been approved for this, or Eric Dinowitz's office, or somebody's requesting further information, and all the information I have is they need more information, that he was more involved in the community, is that correct, or?
Something to that effect, they wanted more, support to show his, community work. Yes. There wasn't a lot in there. There was a lot about him being a great business guy, doing a lot for the community at his business. But they wanted to see what he did in the community, more evidence of that.
Who's they though? Is it Eric Dinowitz's?
The I mean, I can't answer for them. I don't know if it's the council said this or just Dinowitz knew he needed this to present to the council. It wasn't enough to show his community involvement.
Right, cause I'm not, I mean, I had no idea how this process works. We pass a resolution trying to get a street named after somebody, and then as far as I know, it goes to get voted on by the city council. That was my understanding of it. So somewhere along the line, this process got derailed because someone somewhere decided that they needed more information, cause whatever package, and you said it wasn't as strong as some of the other packages that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, they are presented, not everything approved by the board gets approved by them. They have to approve the street naming. To have it go through, just because we approved it, it's a great support, but it doesn't mean it will happen.
Yeah, I have,
People can reapply, again and again if they don't get approved. But with this application, I think they would have to show more evidence of that.
so do we know if he's in?
I don't know anything yet, because as I said, I would reach out to the office to ask and see what the situation is and what we could do going forward if we want to assist.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a rubber stamp. The city council and they've also named streets without us. They've also on their own, you know, it's their prerogative.
But we've had people denied before then.
I don't recall.
I don't recall, I don't recall that, but I know legally it's up to the city council.
Right.
And they can do it with, like I said, without, and I've seen them do it without us, where you just, you know.
But the local council
investigated.
person always has to be in favor of it.
Yes.
They're not going to do it against the wishes of the local council person. That, you know, that council member has to be in effect the champion of this particular proposal.
Okay, so I'm gonna call on David has his hand up. David?
Yes, thank you. I would note that on this particular application, both Nick Fazio and I, as chairs of our respective committees, wrote a letter about this. So I think we should find out exactly who wants what, so we can get this finished. This has been going on for 2 or 3 years. So Farah, please find out exactly what they want and who it is that wants it, whether it's the councilman or DOT or I don't know.
Okay, Farah will follow up on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so any more unfinished, any new business? Anyone on Zoom have any comments? Okay, so our next executive committee meeting is Wednesday, April 2nd. Make a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you. All agree? Who
As
doesn't
long as we
agree?
eat donuts.
I'm abstaining.
I was just thinking to myself.